and welcome back to my channel. I hope I can keep this video a bit shorter. Today we're going to be looking at a segment where my favorite reformists, the Majority Report people, are wrong and Jesse Waters is right? What the hell is happening? Okay, let's go.
You shouldn't be analyzing geopolitics with this knowledge base.
These oligarchs want their yachts back. I always like to ask when Jessica's here, not you.
I like him saying that as Trump has gilded the Oval Office.
It just gets more and more gold every time somebody shows up there.
Like, you're gonna run out of things to gild at a certain point.
These oligarchs want their yachts back. I always like to ask when Jessica's here, not you, Harold, what is the Democrat plan? Because right now they're saying armchair quarterbacking, you can't reward Putin for his naked aggression. So he can't keep the land he won on the battlefield. Okay, how are you going to get Vladimir Putin to relinquish the land he won in battle? The United States won lands in battle. We didn't just give it back. No country gives back land they win in battle. That's what this is all about. You have to accept reality, and that's what these Democrats are doing. Borders change all the time. You can't go back to the borders that Ukraine had. Think about Germany. It used to be the Prussian Empire. Then it was the German Empire. It expanded, it contracted in the world wars, and then they divided it in two. And now it's reunited. And they can't do this to Ukraine? Come on, that's ridiculous.
Wait, what? Wait.
Now, before they go into their rant, I want to say, of course, Jesse Waters is ridiculous and an asshole and a right-winger and whatever. But in some sense, he is actually talking about the facts, like the material political facts here. And the Majority Report guys are going to hang on to some sort of liberal nonsense about the international order and whatever. But the fact is, what are you going to do if you want a peace negotiation, okay, a cessation of hostilities? You cannot expect to get within that deal Putin to just say, yeah, I was wrong. I invaded for no... Sorry, guys. I'm going back. He's not going to do that. That's not his position. That's why you're trying to make him back away, because his position is he wants to acquire those lands. Now, is it bad that he wants to acquire those lands? Yes. Very bad. And, you know, I'm against Trump. I'm against Putin. But that's what a peace negotiation really is in that case. It's a peace signed into law between those nations, right? And therefore the parties have to get things and get concessions from the other party and get concessions from the mediator, which would be the United States. So there is really no point in saying, no, Trump must say that Putin must give back everything. That, you know, if Trump were actually a well-intentioned mediator in some sort of conflict, then no, that would be stupid. That would totally, sabotage the goal of getting a peace, negotiated peace of any kind. Right? So anyways, let's listen to what the Majority Report guys have to say. I think I'll play a little bit of Jesse Waters again to contextualize it.
Borders change all the time. You can't go back to the borders that Ukraine had. Think about Germany. It used to be the Prussian Empire. Then it was the German Empire. It expanded, it contracted in the world wars, and then they divided it in two. And now it's reunited. And they can't do this to Ukraine? Come on, that's ridiculous.
Wait, what? Wait. What is he saying? You don't go back to border? Well, I think the idea is that you continue to arm Ukraine and hope that they take back territory.
I mean,
This line by Sam Cedar here is like condensing the failure of the Second International into a caricature of a SOCDEM person. Yes, that is what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to avoid continuing to arm belligerents in an imperialist war, which only continues to grow war economies and further incentivizes militarization within an already expanding capitalist crisis. Yes, we're trying to do something that is not that. Yes, we're not trying to arm them anymore. That would be the whole point of doing a peace negotiation, to not have the war continue.
Germany's borders, I mean, it was the belligerent in a world war.
But
But also Germany reunited after the USSR fell apart with not a bullet shot in that.
Well, there were people who were punished in silence, just there were communists, Whatever, it's fine. Not a bullet shot. And the reunification was definitely great for Germany. They destroyed the good Germany and literally left us with like a fucking weird tumor-ridden hidden Nazi state. It's real bad. Look into what West Germany did with the Nazis versus what East Germany did with the Nazis, and how the USSR handled Nazis versus how the US invited Nazis.
Area.
I mean,
I'm sorry. So they did reunite despite the fact, and so the Soviet Union did cede territory. In fact,
Yes.
The Soviet Union ceded territory? See, like, I can understand that you say, oh, the GDR was under control of the Soviet Union and thus they ceded territory. But it's I mean, the people in East Germany, they wanted the socialist state to continue, right? So it should have become like Stalin should never have done this whole we're gonna control world socialism from right here in fucking Moscow, because that was a stupid thing to do, because internationalism is a core value of Marxism, and you can't just say, okay, we're the headquarters now. That doesn't make sense. But just listen to this whole framing.
Lots.
Ukraine also is in and of itself an example of getting territory back after it had been ostensibly conquered by the Soviet Union.
Okay, let me just tell you, look into that history of the conquering, and look into the history of nationalism and national identity in Ukraine and other ex-Soviet states. Just look into it, Whatever you find, you might be surprised. Might be surprised to learn where those things came from and how much of a sabotage against the Soviet Union there actually was, because the Soviet Union represents exactly proletarian organizing, the demonstration of the potential of proletarian power. Yeah. Well, whatever.
Jesse Waters?
Along with a bunch of other countries.
Yeah.
I would also remind Jesse Waters that there was a military that defeated the Germans, was the largest contingent of the military that defeated the Germans in a country called France. And they still speak French there instead of English, because even though it was U.S. and British forces that were largely responsible for taking back France.
Okay. So his framing is, he just talked about how the Soviet Union ceded territory. But the Soviet Union actually freed a lot of the countries from coming from the East. And they didn't just say, okay, the Soviet Union goes to like whatever, Austria now. And so America didn't do that either. But you know what America did do is they did the Marshall Plan, and they forcefully, with laws, with obligations, tied the whole of Western Europe to US-led world imperialist hegemony. Okay, so that was they kind of didn't cede territory in that sense, you know?
They didn't keep it.
It's a matter of international law, the United Nations, that you cannot annex land that you take in conquest. Now, this is something that we don't force about Israel, for instance, and that's kind of always been a sort of looming over this Russia-Ukraine stuff, is the hypocrisy there of the West, and you see that somebody like Waters just says, "Yeah, screw it all. Who cares?"
Well, this is
Yeah. He's being at least a realist. Now, he's doing that for nefarious purposes, sure. But what does it get you to say, well, under international law, this shouldn't be the thing? Yeah, international law is a farce, brother. Do you understand what you're witnessing happening right now to the international order? Anyways, I don't know. I don't want to be so hard on them. This is partially just a presentation issue and not really a disagreement, but it's also a disagreement, and it's also just a slimy way they have to support this stupid status quo narrative. They didn't have to talk about this clip. Why talk about this clip? It's a really fucked situation. And you're going to just add that Jesse Waters is stupid because he has a realistic picture of what happens when you come to a negotiated peace between two belligerents, at least one of which doesn't want to stop fighting? Come on, that doesn't make sense.